great to be with you. I'm a double buff, for those of you who are unaware. I have bachelor's and master's degrees in journalism from the University of Colorado. And believe it or not, I was an RA during my time on campus. Yeah, Baker Hall, I was an RA, which meant I had my fair share of turns of cafeteria duty over at Libby. So for those of you who are alums and you had the beautiful, exquisite experience of enjoying our five-star dining at Libby, you're welcome. And speaking of being an RA, for those of you who ran afoul of the noise policy, open container policy, or for those of you cultivating a certain cash crop which is now legal, and I look the other way, you're welcome. No, it's my experience at CU was amazing. I loved my time in Boulder. We cheered on all the sports teams. We had national championships. Go Buffs. Hopefully we'll get back there. Skiing almost got there again this year. Go get them, coach. But we also had our share of national tragedies during our time in Boulder. The Challenger explosion happened when I was on campus. And so through it all, we remained Buff strong. Now, I mentioned that I'm a double buff. What I didn't tell you is I'm the first in my family to graduate from college. Now, it may sound impressive on its face, but it's more so when you consider I'm the 9th of 10 children. I'll let you in on a little secret. Oh, thank you, thank you. Little secret, though, Catholic family, no cable. So what are you going to do? What we lacked in resources, we more than made up for in love in our family. Even when my dad was gone, we made ends meet. My mom worked a couple of jobs. In fact, I lived in a housing project in East St. Louis, Illinois, when I was a little boy. And I want you to envision for just a moment, here's this little kid, 7 years old, looking out the window at some liquor store on State Street or, smelling the burning trash. And I want you to compare that with this 21-year-old kid looking out at the snow-dusted Flatirons in Boulder. That's my CU experience. They said to me when I applied, you are more than a test score. You're more than your parents and your background. You are curious and imaginative, and we want to cultivate that. We want to really stoke that fire. And so that's my CU. And that's why whenever the Buffs ask me to do something, I show up. I will give my time, my treasure, and my talent, and I'm here to encourage all of you to do the same. During my time at CU, I had some amazing professors as well. One by the name of Doug Looney. Those of you who know him know Doug is an amazing writer and a sports historian and a tremendous investigator, and without a doubt my favorite professor during my time there. And Doug would often say, I'm not interested in how you got here or where you're from. I want to know where you're going. Because he would say, the next step begins with you. And I took that to heart because Doug was not only impactful for me professionally, he was impactful in my life personally because Doug was there when my mom passed away. He said, Kevin, a lot of us have been there, but I want you to know you'll get through it. After all, the next step begins with you. And he reminds me of this constantly whenever we chat. And so I took that advice into my professional life. I cover the White House, as you know. This is my third administration, for the record. I covered the Bush White House, the Obama White House, and now the Trump White House. And I don't mind telling you, boy, are they different. Whoa. I mean, they had their own challenges as well. I mean, the way they interact with the press is very different. The Bush White House, super professional, lots of insiders from Washington. They treated you very professionally. Obama administration, a little bit more hands-off, a little suspicious of the press, real tight-knit group, no drama Obama. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. The Trump White House, well, there you go. Different, I'll tell you that, but the people are no less committed and patriots. And I mean that. I think no matter your political persuasion, if you're willing to put your life and your livelihood and your family on the line like this, you are a patriot in your own way. But I can tell you this, they also had their unique challenges, right? The Bush White House had wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the housing and financial crises. The Obama administration had this dramatic recession, and the Trump White House has come in with this sort of political human Molotov cocktail, as Michael Moore said. this desire for change in Washington to sort of ungunk the clog, if you will. And so while they all have their own challenges, they're also in some ways similar. They are looking to do more than transactional leadership here in Washington. They want transformational leadership. The Bush administration really believed that transformational leadership in the Middle East would change the way an entire region viewed the U.S. for generations to come. The Obama administration really believed that transformational change in healthcare would change the way we see not just ourselves, but our seniors and our children moving forward. The way we do health policy in this country is so important. And climate policy, I could add. The Trump administration trying to do transformational things in tax reform and regulatory policy. Again, in each instance, they want to do more than just sort of the old political way, which was a chicken in every pot is a vote in every precinct. They're trying to do something bigger. We call it fundamental change here in Washington, and it happens from the top down. If you're on Capitol Hill, for example, what happens out of the White House can fundamentally change the way we see our policies, the things that are enacted, that become law. Whether it's the Supreme Court, again, whoever's in the White House can fundamentally change the court for generations, dramatically so, as I'm sure you all know. And so in my job, I've been able to have a front row along the ride to watching the first rough draft of history. It's been really remarkable. But I don't want you to get the sense that because I have a front row seat that somehow all of you are relegated to the third row of an SUV. No, you too have a front row view of this rough draft of history. So you may be saying to yourself, well, all right, Kevin, well, you're White House correspondent, Mr. Fancy Pants. You get to question these people. Tell us what you got. Well, Trump's hair is real, all right? He does not hate the press as much as he plays up. That's a little bit of P.T. Barnum. He is not, how can I put this delicately, interested in the nuance of policy. I did it. But that doesn't mean he's not smart, and it doesn't mean he doesn't care about his country. And one of the things that we talk about as reporters in the White House press corps is how can we extract the most information for viewers and make it easy to understand whether you are college educated or if you're in a Barca lounger in Pampa, Texas, and you quit school in the 3rd grade. It's my privilege and my pleasure to be able to do that each and every night, but it's not easy. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today as a buff is the importance of each and every one of you being involved at the very highest level. I'm not asking you to run for office. I'm not asking you to donate to a political party or person. I'm asking you to think about what your experience in Boulder meant to you and how can you make it count from this day forward. Because after all, it begins with you. Are you satisfied with where we are politically in this country? Are you satisfied with our coverage? Say yes, please. Are you satisfied that the things that are important to you are being talked about and acted upon? The answer is yes. God bless you. The answer is not necessarily. This is your chance. Where CU has taken me from that little kid in the housing projects to flying all over the globe on Air Force One is the embodiment of possibility. That's what this is all about. We want you to understand and to know whether you are a prospective student, a current student, or an alum, the possibility exists that we can do more and be more, but we can only do it if you're willing to try. I mentioned earlier that I would be willing to give my time, my treasure, and my talent for whatever the CU mission is. Won't you? Can I count on you today, after all you're here, to give CU a little bit of your time, just a bit of your talent, and yes, a buck or two? Because what you see here on the screen, in the room, among the speakers, is a reflection of all of us. I want to leave you with this. Nothing is more important to me than being here today, except that you are all here today. See, you did that for me. I hope it did it for you. And if I leave you with nothing else, I leave you with 2 words. Go Buffs. Thanks for being here.